Folks, it's Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, Donnie Rightside, with the big man on campus at Jeff Nato on Twitter. This is the right side of campus, Saturday sit-down edition. No better place to be. Enormous card to go over, Jeff. I apologize. I couldn't make the show last night. Did have some family affairs I had to attend to, but I did listen to the replay today with Joe on there. Very good job on the show. Very entertaining. Interesting day coming up. Big man, how's it going? Big weekend ahead for us, buddy.
Yeah, Donnie, a lot to do today. I have I have the sun shining in here. I definitely am going to need a little bit of a shade going forward. It looks like I'm, entering heaven here to the left, whatever, to your right. But we're back. A lot to do today, Donnie. We got baseball. We got soccer. We have USA Mexico. We got the Belmont Stakes. The NBA Finals are not over yet. A lot to do, Donnie. And you look at baseball today, 5 totals above 10. Amazing.
No, we've been waiting on it. There's always a correction, or should I say a market correction, when things are headed over for the majority of baseball season. I would love to get back in there and cap some unders and have a fair shot. But as we see time and time again, sometimes if it looks too good to be true, it usually is. And now it looks like today, if you saw my Twitter, if you follow my Twitter account, the opening line at Pinnacle today in Chicago, I know the wind's blowing out. I know these two teams possibly going to be able to hit these pitchers. 13, Jeff, football game, 7-7 they're anticipating.
Yeah, it's the Denver Broncos against the Chicago Bears here.
Bears.
Amazing number. I haven't seen 13 in a long time. And can't remember ever seeing a total at 13 in anywhere but Coors. So definitely an amazing total. And we'll get into that one for sure.
Jeff, let's back up a little bit for last night. We'll go over the NBA in just a few moments, but I know a lot of the people out there, subscribers and whatnot, do like to see how we did. Last night, as you know, if you follow, I did have a recital to go through. I was trapped for 4 hours with barely any signal service. Was able to get out maybe around 10:15, headed home about 10:30 last night on a great trajectory in the Dodgers game. It was 6-1 in the bottom of the 4th inning, men on first and second, and I was sitting on a total of 8. You were as well there, Jeff. Looking like it's going to be an easy non-sweat. But, Jeff, this is baseball season. You don't get the winner until the last run is put on the board. You might have thought Cy Young was out there and Kenta Maeda and Wood for Cincinnati peeling through batters at an unbelievable rate. We finally get the 2 solo bombs, one in the bottom of the 8th, one in the top of the 9th. But, Jeff, betting sports overall in general, it seems it's always a sweat, isn't it?
Yeah, that one was, what'd you say? At the bottom 4, it was 6-1. And
6-1, yes.
Yeah, I'm sitting on 8. I have a premium planet. I made it a 3-unit bet in that contest. So I had a lot riding on that game last night. And you got to like those games, Donnie, where you get a solo shot late in the game, actually 2 solo shots late in the game. And look, I got to be honest, Donnie, I didn't think Cincinnati had it in them. It
looked like they didn't even care. It looked like they didn't even care last night. Yeah.
They were pitiful from the plate. Joey Votto home run, which is really nice. Great. We had a fun show last night, Donnie, with Joe Duffy. He came on. We went over tons of calls, and people turned, obviously you're back today. We're excited. And I want to let everyone know, tell your friends, tell anyone you think that would like the show. Obviously, Donnie has, me and Donnie have been doing this for a while now. It's really been fun doing it. And I welcome everyone. We always get a lot of people on the Saturday show here. Like the show. If you want to get in the SPR Bet Points contest, you are available to do so. All you got to do, head on over to SPRcontest.com. Up until the last couple of days, really. I literally, after today, Donnie, will be through 90 picks. I have them all. So I don't think you've done any. So
no, I'm telling you, I will have 90 picks in this. Don't you guys worry if I have to squeeze it out in the last 4 days. I'm signed up. I'm ready to go. I'm telling you, I'm like the Jeff. I'm the cheetah behind there trying to catch up to like the bison or whatever out on the Serengeti. I want to let some people get out to a lead. I want to strategize. I want to get after them.
Yeah, it is an interesting strategy. But again, you can either not do any picks and wait, or you can do them all and just kind of get it out of the way. I've just been picking every game. I had, unfortunately, I was on kind of a nice run, and then I think it was Thursday night I went like 3-6 or something. But last night I had a winning night. I hit my big play, so I'm coming. I got only about today will make or break if I'm going to place in the top 100 or not. If I have an 8-1 or 9-2 day, look out for the big men on campus. But again, I'm just picking every game. So
yeah, Jeff, before we get into the baseball part here, why don't we recap a little bit last night? I know you're sitting on a pretty good-sized future there with the Golden State Warriors just to win the series. It's not like, you picked it in a sweep or you had them in 5 games. So you have some nice ammunition in your bag with still 3 games to go. Very impressive last night for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jeff. As I was driving home last night, I had to do a double take and see that they in the high 80s by halftime, the Cleveland score. Unbelievable, man.
Yeah, we were on live during the game. 86 points at halftime. Yeah, it was the largest first quarter score ever as far as most points in a quarter. Yeah, I mean they shot 61% for the game. I don't think they'll shoot that way again. It was kind of reminiscent last year of the way the Cavs shot in the playoffs. They had several series where they were just killing it from 3. But yeah, a wild game last night. A lot of weird things went on. And you know what's crazy, Donnie? They missed 9 free throws in the first half.
Yeah.
They could have had 90 plus. A pitiful defensive display. Not only this series has been, but the playoffs in general. And you look at, like Seth is saying, good point here. You're looking, and we said it the other day, Donnie, what the Cleveland Cavaliers have to do to win games in this series. I mean, I know last night they fairly had taken it along the whole game. They were kind of in control, but they needed a game like that to win. So they're going to need a miracle, obviously, to come back in the series. I'm not concerned. This basically just means that Golden State can go and close it out on their home floor. So, yeah, Draymond Green, a lot was said about him last night. Look, he is who he is. He's a goon. That's kind of his MO. He's like a Bill Laimbeer type. That's what he does. He's a good defender, though, and he gets in their heads a little bit, I think, or they get in his head. I don't know, but
yeah, coming back going to be a tough one. I did see this morning Pinnacle opened up, Jeff, -9 for the Golden State Warriors. So no surprise where Vegas is headed right now that Golden State's probably going to close this one out. But one would have thought, cutting their heart out game 3, game 4, I like the response. And again, just extends the season one more game for us. Depending on either if you like the super team, don't like the super team, it is fun to watch these players go up and down the court. So maybe we'll get a little bit more drama there. I think the train ends there, obviously, with Golden State. And if you follow Darren Rovell there on ESPN, maybe some popping bottles with the front office and the ownership of Golden State. Looks like they're going to pick up another check for at least $11 million right into their pocket for game 5 here. So they can't be too disappointed they didn't wrap it up there in 4 games.
One other thing, NBA scripted LeBron's whole career. Any possibility NBA tries to make LeBron first person to ever come back from 3-0? It wouldn't surprise me if he was
from 3-1 and 3-0 back-to-back. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And he, again, but I think, Donnie, we made it clear last night. I mean, I think our Warriors team is very good. I mean, very good. They're probably the best offensive team I've ever seen. But defensively, they have some major issues. I mean, they're not all these people talking about they'd beat Jordan's teams. And I got to tell you, that Detroit Pistons team was pretty damn good a couple years ago. The Laker teams, there's a lot of the Sixers in the 80s. I mean, there's a lot of teams that to just go out and say they would beat them, a little ridiculous. If we saw anything last night, it's that they're a horrible defensive team. But again, they just caught shooting last night. We'll see. That means I got to extend it. I was kind of hoping to hit this future to kind of have some money to play around with.
Some money, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But either way, it's only going to make a good week better or a new week more. So we'll see what happens. But Donnie, let's get into baseball. A lot to do. Also, if you're interested, Donnie, we have the call-in number. People have loved the call-in number.
Yes.
People are calling in. We had tons of calls. We actually couldn't even get to them all last night. So we already have a couple for today. We'll play at the end. 2 or 3 that we kind of weren't able to get to last night. If you want to call in, you can call in whenever. You want to call in tonight, Sunday, whenever. We don't have to be on the air for you to call in. 717-220-3358. Please try to keep the call to a minute or less. Donnie, we did have some people going 2 minutes on the calls last night.
That's a big shot of fame, man. Yes.
Yeah. I will say the Rob job with a 2-minute call, which it was long, but it was interesting. He maintained his issues with Draymond Green. He hates Kevin Durant. So there was a lot going on, but just try to keep it to a minute or less. That way we can kind of get to them all. Big Man, any World Cup qualifier? Yep, we'll talk about that later. Big Man, hit me with the email. Seth, I've sent you the goddamn email 5 times. I don't know what you're looking at here. I mean, how many times do I got to send this goddamn email? For Christ's sakes. No, I'm only kidding, but maybe you're not seeing it. I'm going to post it right now.
Rate the spam for us, Jeff. Check the spam box always,
No, he's telling me to put it in the chat box, and I'm doing it.
Gotcha.
There you go. Sent it to you.
And by the way, guys in the chat box out there, there's a lot of you there. We used to be able to give you a shout out each and every show, but the problem with having a show that's getting a little bit bigger and bigger each day is it's hard to go. If we would spend 15 minutes saying hello to everybody, so I appreciate everybody out there checking and saying hello. We like to try to work that chat box as much as possible. Any comments that you have out there, see something on a game, or if we say anything wrong, feel free to shout us out or shout it out because you've done it before. Keep it up. But again, we really appreciate you guys tuning into that chat box and really keeping the show lively for us. It's a lot of fun for us.
We'll get to the chick and what she said later on the call. Donnie, last night was funny. We were doing the calls, right? And yes. I got Joe Duffy off the air, and we were just kind of wrapping it up. And some of the listeners wanted us to stay on a little bit longer. So I had a couple calls to play, and I'm in the middle of a woman calling in, and I see we go off air. And right in the middle of her call, so it kind of sucked. But
everybody was probably upset about that.
They were, and I don't know what happened with the I guess the guy supposedly lost connection, so I don't know that was running the show last night. But overall, I think it was just a mistake. We'll get to it today. Donnie, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into the card. It's already a game actually underway, which is rare for us here. 12:05 start. We're not going to break this game down, just giving you an update there. Texas and Washington, Perez and Gonzalez watching it right now. Bottom of the second, 2 out, 1 on for the Nationals. I didn't have much on this game anyway as it came into there, Jeff. Over under opened up at 10 with Pinnacle, bet the 9.5. Always tricky, these really early starts, especially on a Saturday to start the card up. Did you have any feelings on that game at all, Jeff? I didn't even really cap it because I knew it was an early game and I didn't have much interest as it was anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't really looking to lay a big number with Washington. I thought they would bounce back today. Martin Perez is, for many years, has struggled on the road. I thought he would have some trouble today. But I didn't have much on it. You look at the lineup for the Nationals, obviously from 1 to 4, pretty good. But other than that, not much to get excited about. So no, I did not have anything. I think the Washington Nationals will win, but I didn't bet on it.
All right, now let's get right into the card here. We'll start off, go right down the rotation as usual. Doesn't look like we're going to run into any games. They're going to start at 1:05, which is actually there is one 1 o'clock game, but we'll be able to hit that game probably before it gets off there. Let's go to 9:51, 9:52. It's going to be Pivetta and Martinez, my Philadelphia Phillies and the St. Louis Cardinals. 73% here, Jeff, of the public currently backing the St. Louis Cardinals. Opened up at -185. It now sits at -215 for this Cardinals team at Chris. Total opened up at 8.5, Jeff. Looks like it's sitting at 8.5 across the board. Pivetta through 5 starts, 5.18 ERA. He is back from the minors in his last start, 5 innings, 3 earned runs. That's about what you're going to get. He's obviously not a shutdown pitcher. He's not, just a gas can out there, but he's going to give you somewhere in that range, 2, 3, 4 earned runs each and every start. Martinez has been very good at home, 2.19 ERA. The Phillies, as we all know, 9-24 on the road. St. Louis 15-15 at home. Snapped that long 7-game losing streak last night to the Phillies with a nice play in left field there. I believe it was Freddie Galvis at the plate, hit a slicer down the line. I can't remember the outfitter who dove and made a nice play on that, but St. Louis escapes last night. I'm not interested in laying anything above -130 right now, Jeff, with the Cardinals. I don't have much on this game because, again, looks like those Phillies bats are turtling again after having a nice offensive explosion for about a week. Any thoughts for the people out there, Jeff, on this game with St. Louis?
Yeah, Phillies 9-24 on the road. Another loss last night. I like Carlos Martinez at home. I hate Pivetta. I've said that time and time again. If the St. Louis Cardinals can just maintain a little consistency offensively, I would be interested, but they're not, and that's my problem. You also look at the fact, Donnie, that Carlos Martinez in 12 starts this year, just 25 runs of support. If you're not good with math, that's like little under 2.5 per game. Not good. One of the worst in baseball. And with the way this team hits, it wouldn't surprise me if they got shut down by Nick Pivetta. I think the Cardinals will win, but I have no real interest in general. I will say this. The one thing I do know today is Jim Beam is a total weirdo, a total creep, a total weird dude. He said some odd things on this chat box. He's also, Donnie, called in and had some odd comments for me. He's a guy I think that is just
He likes you to
hard.
shave. He's always happy when you shave.
Yeah, he actually sent in a message calling me that I need to shave and I need to design my room better and some interior designer or something. Again, Jim, it's time to lay off the alcohol. You're drinking way too much. You've been weird for sure. Very weird.
Yeah, we
Definitely
get him all in
some
the
weird
chat
news.
box, man. Absolutely. By the way, Jeff, looking at that
trying
St.
too
Louis.
hard to he's trying too hard to be funny. That's his problem. Just be yourself, Jim. It's again not that funny.
Maybe that is himself, though. You never know.
I got to play you his message later. It's very odd.
No, we'll get to it there. Jeff, looking at that St. Louis Cardinals lineup, as most of these lineups are out for the early afternoon, I mean, you could just go through. I mean, Diaz has been very good I can't say very good, but he's been serviceable at shortstop. But you have the old fam in the lineup, Wong, Fryer, Piscotty. Matt Carpenter hitting 222, which I know he was down in the low twos earlier in the week. They just don't seem to have a constructed lineup. And again, you're batting Dexter Fowler second. Just put him first. And by the way, Jeff, today I was going out on a walk. As I do quite early in the morning, 30, 35 minutes just to get the blood running here since I am getting old. Listening to the show last night, tuning in, and my blood was boiling again when you guys were going over, the DH and what makes you, upset and about the list that we had early in the week. And I can't believe I left off stupid-ass Joe Madden batting his pitcher eighth like he's the smartest man in the world.
Yeah, he always does.
And the theory behind it as well. I like to get the, Schwarber behind him, and then you start the top of the lineup. Hey, idiot, why don't you just start to the top of the lineup the way it's supposed to be started? Like the theory in baseball is I want my worst hitter to bat the least. Isn't that the easiest, theory out there? Oh, it boils my – I can't even believe I had to bring it up again, but just listening made me angry.
He thinks because he has Jake Arrieta, he's going to, outsmart everyone. And I remember when when they were in that long game with the Yankees, he was it seemed like he was obsessed with putting in pitchers to hit. It was just,
exactly. Like, I guess he hid down in Tampa Bay, which you can't, bat your pitcher eighth in Tampa Bay. Yeah. But this whole batting your pitcher eighth just shows how stupid of a manager. And again, yesterday, time and time again, Jeff, Joe Madden doesn't believe in the bunt. Not lead off the inning with your 7-hole guy. He walks. The pitcher comes up. Sure, have him swing away. Strikeout. Ooh, what a fantastic at bat. I'm not going to give away an out and bunt. No, but you just had your pitcher strike out. Enough Joe Madden talk. I just had to get that off my chest here, Jeff.
Big man, I took Andorra yesterday. 20 paid out, 576. Scuba Steve, I will say this. I do get the feeling you just bet that one just to bet it. And I got to tell you, great call. Scared money don't make money in this business, and that is a fantastic call. Donnie, Andorra has not won a game in the international stage since 2000.
Where are we talking? Where is Andorra, Jeff? Give me a little background.
Andorra is near in the middle of Spain and France. It's a small country. It's the fact that they won a game at this level is fairly hard to believe. Like I said, they haven't won a game since 2004 at this level. So amazing goal, by the way, if you hadn't seen it. If you looked at the game yesterday, it was literally like they're playing in some field somewhere. It was really amazing. So good for you, Scuba Steve. That's a nice score for you. But, yeah, as far as this one, I would go Cardinals, but I have some concerns with their issues at the plate, and they're not giving support to Pivetta. Or to Martinez, I'm sorry.
Yep. Next up on the docket here, Jeff, let's get to the football game with a total opened up at 13. Looks like it's about 12.5 across the board. It's going to be Hoffman and Butler today. 6,500 tickets already tracked in this one, Jeff. 53% are back in Colorado here. The road team opened up as a favorite of -118 here for Chicago, Jeff. Actually going higher to -140 at 5 dimes. So if you're that false flag, is that what you like to look for? Looks like the Chicago Cubs would be fitting exactly some of the criteria that you might look into if you're looking to fade the public. Wind blowing out in this one, Jeff, 18+ miles an hour, dead center field. We know how that can wreak havoc on a game. Hoffman, spot starter, 3 starts, 2.33 ERA. But, Jeff, I hasten the excitement of that 2.33 ERA with 2 of those starts coming against the Phillies and the San Diego Padres. Butler, 3 starts at home, 2.63 ERA. Colorado, don't have to say any more with them. Another win yesterday on the road, Jeff. I know you were back in Colorado as well. It's a great call, 23-10. Chicago Cubs, 30-30, similar to the Cleveland Indians. When are these teams going to wake up from that World Series hangover, Jeff?
I don't know. The one thing I do know here is We have a total of 13, Donnie, which is
where's the value at? Is there value in that? Like, I think we can get an 8-6 game. My goodness.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's amazing. You look at the weather forecast, 88 degrees, wind blowing out 20 to 25 miles an hour. So obviously that's the reasoning on that. But I think from what we've learned in the past, and that I've learned in the past, they set these totals at ridiculous numbers. And sometimes they don't even come close. I mean, you have to look at the fact, again, both these offenses are very good. Butler, I can't ever lay a price with. I'm just not going to do it. You look at the fact that, Donnie, the Cubs hitting just 224 against right-handed pitching this year. And I know Jeff Hoffman has struggled, has been pitching against good, poor teams. But again, the Cubs against righties are not exactly a good team either. So I have a hard time laying any kind of number with the Cubs today. The Rockies have won 6 in a row. They're hitting 302 during that time. They should be able to get to Butler, who is actually a former Rocky, played with the Rockies for several years. So I like the Rockies again in this spot. I think they have the better pitcher in this matchup. They've won 4 of 5 against the Cubs this year. And I think right now they're the much better lineup as well. So I'll keep taking these underdog prices with the Rockies. I don't really know that I understand these lines. I think this should be closer to a pick 'em as opposed to the Cubs laying this kind of number. Colorado also with a nice bullpen record on the road. Their ERA just 2.74. They've done a lot of things this year that they weren't doing last year. So a nice job for their pitching staff. For me, I would go Rockies, and at a 13 total, I don't care where it is. I would go under. I can't take over a 13. Just can't do it.
Yeah, a couple double play balls and you're out of that. But again, you need everything to go right. And I know the wind is actually going to increase as the day goes on. I believe it opens up at about 13, 14 miles an hour. By game time ends, it'll be close to 20. But at the same time, you still have to hit the ball, and you still have to hit the ball in the air. And it's not like, hey, we got 6 or 7 runs, for one side, like 7-4. Like, you don't even cover an over, Jeff. It's 7-5. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And I think the only place I would ever lay that kind of number would be Coors Field. Other than that, I'm just not too interested. Update in World Cup qualifying, England and Scotland scoreless. Donnie, I have England in this game, and it was definitely bittersweet for me. As you know, Celtic, Donnie, made a lot of money for me all year, and most of Scotland's team is Celtic players. So they're hosting England here, and they're playing well in this game. We'll see what happens in the second half. Will it be yet another poor World Cup qualifying and competition for this English squad? A lot of good players here, but struggling so far. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, as far as from this game, I would lean to the Rockies.
Next up on the docket, Miami and Pittsburgh in a shootout last night with 2 pitchers. That's one game, Jeff, that I think if you didn't take the over, similar, I didn't take the over in that game. I had one play last night, but maybe you outthought it. 2 tomato cans on the mound last night, and it played out exactly the way it should have in a shootout there. Today, we're going to have Australian Williams on the mound, 2,100 tickets in a 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game currently here. If we take a look at the numbers, 59% are back in the road Marlins here. Opened up at a -117 at Pinnacle, hovering around that area. Pinnacle's at -113, 5 Dimes at -111. If we take a look at the total, Jeff, opened up at 9, bet up to 9.5. There are some 10s peaking out with double juice out there. Looks like Chris is hosting one of those. If we take a look at some particulars in this game, Jeff, Straley through 5 road starts, 5.46 ERA. 6 straight starts, however, with 3 runs or less given up. Williams, his last 3 starts been pretty good, 2.50. Only had 1 bad start on the year. Miami is 6-3 in June. Pittsburgh 26-35 overall, but 7-2 on Saturday, Jeff, and an over 500 record of 13-8 during the day. Maybe the Pirates just need to play more games in the day.
Yeah, I don't have much in this game. This is almost a pass for me. I mentioned yesterday I would have the smallest of leans on Miami in this series. Vance Worley didn't really pitch that well, but they just scored a ton of runs for him and were able to get the job done. I think the Marlins, I'll just take them just because their lineup's better. And I got to be honest, I do trust Straley a little bit more than I trust Trevor Williams, though he has been decent in 6 starts. I have no real opinion on this game. It's a total pass for me.
Yeah, he's not going to blow you away there. Looks like they have a slight over umpire in this one. Wind blowing out looks like right dead down the left field line, almost double digits, so you might get a little bit of help there. Just trying to go over. It doesn't look like we have too many bits and pieces of information on the actual lineups that came out yet. But yeah, I don't have too much on that game either. But if you're looking at these 2 teams, you're more likely to have an over than an under in that one. So let's keep it moving here, Jeff. 1 p.m., we're going to beat the gun here by 5 minutes, and why not? The G-Man is on the mound for the New York Mets. That's Selman versus the youngster lefty Newcomb here. 61% are backing the G-Man on the road. Opened up at -115, but actually a slight favorite now to the newcomer, Newcomb, on the mound at -109 at Pinnacle. Over-under opened up at 10. Looks like it's about 9.5 across the board. Some particulars here in this game. Selman's last 3 starts, Jeff, 2.95 ERA. The thing here, though, is they were all at home. If we still take a look at a synopsis of taking his home and road starts here, 3 road starts, 11.85 ERA. He absolutely gets torched on the road. Newcomb's first start, he's had a 2.97 ERA in AAA this year. And get this, Jeff, in a hitter's ballpark like Atlanta is, he only has 57 innings pitched and has only given up 3 long balls in that time at AAA. The New York Mets haven't seen that many lefties, 3-5 overall. The Mets 3-11 during the day. Atlanta 5-3 in June. In this game, interesting, Yoenis Cespedes is now back in the lineup for the New York Mets, albeit it is a doubleheader. So it looks like they're going to mix and match some of that lineup as the day goes. But Selman on the road, Jeff, completely different than home.
Yeah, as far as plays so far, this is probably my favorite play. I like the over 10.5 in this game. Or I'm sorry, 9.5, my fault. Not only do you have these 2 pitchers, but you have Tom Hallion behind the plate, who is 11-2 to the over this year. For math people out there, 85% of his games umped this year have gone over the posted total. Donnie, this is a horrible game for Newcomb to come in and pitch. Hallion is not going to give him much as far as pitches. He's a guy that has issues with walks, and Newcomb is an interesting pitcher. He struggled mightily in Double-A, had a good Triple-A career. Several of his issues are his command struggles at times, and at some points he takes batters that he knows he can get out less seriously in a way, which is a big issue that he's had. Normally if you look at his numbers from what I've read, a lot of the lower rung hitters on the team that he's facing are getting hits against him. It's kind of odd. So again, they're bringing him up here. I just kind of throwing him into the fire. But again, this is not a particularly good ump to have in your corner when you're pitching. Tom Hallion does not give much to the pitcher. A lot of walks during his games, almost 7 a game. The whip is over 1.5. And the ERA for opposing pitchers is 5.2 when Tom Hallion is the umpire. So when you have him umping, you have Selman in there. You have, and again, we've talked about Selman, his success lately. Keep in mind, all those games were at home. On the road, he's been an absolute mess this year. Yep. In 3 road games, an ERA almost 12. His whip is almost 2. Both these teams particularly good offensively. The Mets on the road are particularly good offensive team. And the Braves have been pretty solid all year offensively. One last thing. The New York Mets on the road this year, opponents hitting 297 against this group. So at 9.5 with that ump, this just looks like a high-flying game during the day down in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, I would obviously. I'm not. There's no way. You've known how many times I've bet in Selman games this year, just Selman games. It's been a lot. The one thing I always struggle with, though, Jeff, here is this is a doubleheader game. The one interesting point I will like here is that it's down in Atlanta. The weather's going to be up 90 degrees at the start of the first game. I always like to sit back and watch that first game to see if they have to burn some bullpen, to see who starts. No Lucas Duda, no Jay Bruce in the lineup early for the Mets. Cespedes is playing. One would think that, first game back, Cespedes isn't going to get the doubleheader call. But I would like to see the Mets line up game 2 because Matz is going to be pitching, which we'll get into a little bit later. First start off the DL after the extended break versus Whistler, who has not been very good. I'm going to focus more, Jeff, as opposed to game 1, which I usually like to look at game 2 more than game 1. But I'm going to sit that first one out, even though Selman is pitching, and you know how much I like to bang on that guy. But I'm going to look more game 2 than game 1 here.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I normally will look at game 2 as far as after what happens in game 1. But as far as this game, I just think you have a nice little kind of chemistry here for an over. We'll see how it goes. Newcomb can be very good. We'll see what happens. I just think both these guys kind of have some trouble today.
And Jeff, I mean, can you go wrong? I mean, the Mets and the under, it just that doesn't go together. Obviously, we've been riding the Mets train on the over. Why not just keep it riding now? I don't have anything on it. Obviously, it's going to just actually first pitch is probably coming underway now. I'll be interesting to watch, but I want to make sure I see the bullpens, see who's out there. Again, it's really hot down there in Atlanta today. We'll see if that puts a strain. And maybe in the second game, when it cools off just a little bit there, Maybe the bullpen's burned up. We can get some runs there, but that's a lot to discuss at a later time today. Let's keep it moving here, Jeff. We're going to head to a night game here. Cincinnati and the LA Dodgers back to the scene of the crime where me and the big man picked up some cash last night. Wojciechowski versus Wood today. 19% of the public, Jeff, here backing Cincinnati on the road. Total opened up at 8. It's 8 across the board. Wood, Jeff, getting minus 230 to open and since been bet up to minus 245 at sportsbook.com. Taking a look at some particulars here. Wojo's had one road start versus Toronto, 4 innings, 4 earned runs. Didn't turn out too well. Second start a little bit better. However, that was at home, 6 innings and 2 earned runs. Wood, Jeff, check this. 5 of his last 6 starts, 0 earned runs. And that includes his last 4 starts, almost 24 full innings pitched, 0 earned runs. Cincinnati is 3-9 after losing again last night to a lefty. The Dodgers at home, 23-10. Jeff, put the broken record tape on. Let's just push play. Jeff's going to tell you, run line Dodgers at home to win you some money.
Throw Marino, Dodgers at home on run line is the squarest bet that keeps cashing. Or throw Marino, we're just good and we understand how long things are going to go. Maybe you should just jump on the train instead of bad-mouthing it all the time. Yeah, I'll keep riding.
Actually, I would like to chime in on that because I don't bet run lines there, but the square play is the money line
right
on the Dodgers at home. Square's not really, run line, you're taking a little bit more into effect, you're getting a better price, but the square play is the money line there. Run line can't be a square play.
No, you got to lay 1.5 runs.
Exactly.
As far as this one, Wood, this is a crazy number for a guy of the DL, but you mentioned it, his scoreless streak, 25 1/3 innings scoreless. Alex Wood has put together. The Reds look lifeless last night against a left-hander. I think they're going to struggle again here. We've talked about it, Donnie. 23-10 for the Dodgers. 19 have come by 2 or more runs. That's 80% of the time. Opponents are hitting just 211 in LA this year. It's hard to envision a situation where the Reds come out and play well here. Again, Donnie, I am a little concerned, though, off a DL stint. But again, this is an auto bet for me. I make it every night. I'm going to make it again here. The Dodgers should have no issues with Wojciechowski. Wojciechowski in that one road start, like you mentioned, did struggle. He's not going deep into games. And Donnie, here's the problem you have for the Reds. Amir Garrett goes out early in that game last night. They go through a lot of pitchers last night. If Wojciechowski can't go deep in this game, what are you going to do exactly? That's the problem with this Reds staff right now. Donnie, it's truly amazing how bad Amir Garrett's been in the last 4 starts. Wojciechowski, if he only goes 4 innings here, this could get ugly. Plus, Kenta Maeda was the only pitcher last night that pitched other than Rich Hill did. So everyone's fresh in that Dodger pen. This could get ugly for the Reds. I will go with 1.5 again for the Dodgers and keep riding this train.
Boy, I'll tell you, just getting back to last night, Jeff, when you need that last run, it's amazing how games get a little bit out of hand, like 6-1 late in the game. Like Kenta Maeda is batting, and he actually almost went yard, hit a warning track fly ball. But the excruciating pain of watching Kenta Maeda turn into, Pedro Martinez in 2000 was just infuriating to watch. But Cincinnati, Jeff, you're right. Completely checked out. What they have 2 hits coming into the top of the 9th inning. And the fact about it was also, Jeff, they made Rich Hill work. Rich Hill was out of the game after 5 innings and 100 pitches, and they couldn't get to him. So a lifeless effort there. If you're backing Cincinnati, typically that offense is going to hit, and maybe they will tonight. But, boy, just watching the type of at-bats they had last night, real concerning for me.
Hey, Donnie?
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Also wanted to point out, Kenta Maeda, this is a pretty unbelievable. They threw this up during a game randomly the other day, a totally different game, but they were bringing up consecutive appearances without striking out. Kenta Maeda is actually second in the major leagues as far as any qualified batter. He hasn't struck out at all this year in any appearance on the plate. It's only been 19 at-bats, but that's pretty amazing for a pitcher.
You're right about that because when I saw, again, them letting him bat, figuring that the Reds are dead, I'm not going to burn another bullpen guy, just send him up there to lead off the inning. He actually took a great approach to batting. You're right about that, man.
Yeah, he's very high as far as he just doesn't strike out. So as far as like moving runners and stuff, he's been very effective with that. By the way, in this game, Jerry Davis, the home plate umpire, a big under 78% of his 11 games are going under the posted total. As far as the whip in those games, right around 1. So definitely an under If Wood's on tonight, this could be a pretty low scoring game. But I think it's like a 5-2, 6-1 type of game. I think this is a nice, easy win for the Dodgers yet again.
Yeah, it seems like the same MO for the Dodgers. We talk about it quite a bit. 7-2, 7-3, 7-1. It just seems like always the Dodgers score out there in Chavez Ravine. I don't think it's going to change too much tonight. We'll see what Cincinnati tries to pack to see if they can come in. We already know they struggle versus lefties, getting another good one on the mound tonight. Let's keep it moving
Donnie,
here, Jeff. Yes, what's up, buddy?
By the way, one other thing. Who cares what's square? I mean, just bet what you like. Who cares? Who cares what's square? If it wins, who cares? It's square.
I mean, squares win. The public wins. I mean, everybody, you're going to just fix the match because, I mean, contrary to popular belief, sharps pound a lot of square plays. So
it's hard to, I mean, it's square to bet Floyd Mayweather every game. So, I mean, or every fight, but people do it. I mean, there's a reason in sharps and bridge jumpers bet big amounts on big odds, minus 3,000, things like that, because they're locks. They're not going to lose. It was square to bet the Warriors. It's looking like pretty easy money so far. So who cares? Just bet what you like. If you bet the Warriors on money and it's square, who cares? If it wins, it wins. Who cares what you bet? Don't let other people spend your money for you.
No, you're right about there. Game, a little bit of updates here, Jeff. Texas up 1-0 now, still with the man on third, 1 out versus Gio Gonzalez. And it looks like we are going to just get underway here in Atlanta, so I will pop that game on as we are going live in that one also. But some games underway makes it fun for the day. Let's keep it moving here, Jeff. Last night, can you stop these two offensive juggernauts, Milwaukee and Arizona? Almost a carbon copy last night. One would have thought we had some good pitching matchups out there on the mound in the desert, and they blew each other up. Today, it's going to be Gura and Godley. 36% backing the road team here with the Milwaukee Brewers. Over-under opened up at 9.5. Quickly bet to a double-digit 10. No surprise on that one. Opened up as a favorite for Godley at minus 130. He's up to minus 155 to Chris. Junior Gura is one of my favorite pitchers in baseball here. Through 4 starts, 1.83, has that devastating split-fingered fastball, which is great for striking people out, great for getting double plays. Godley, however, through 6 starts, 2.39 ERA. Milwaukee, after winning last night in the desert, 16-10, but Arizona still hosting a hefty 24-9 at home. Another game that looks like, Jeff, can turn into a pitching matchup, but for some reason never turns out that way out there in Arizona.
Yeah, I had Arizona last night. They were a loser for me. And, look, it is what it is. This is what happens sometimes when you bet the same team. They're going to lose. But 24-9 at home for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Godley has been very good in his 6 games this year. I mean, 10 earned runs in 38 innings. I mean, pretty effective. His whip is low. And Guerra, who I've always been I loved Guerra last year. I liked Guerra this year again. Both these guys have been very effective in their outings this year. Opponents are only hitting 235 in Chase Field this year. I got to be honest, Donnie, I would kind of look to under 10 here. Maybe an under in the first 5. I think that might be maybe the best play here. I think both these pitchers are pretty strong. It'll be interesting to see the lineup for the Diamondbacks. Sometimes they go with a different lineup that kind of it's just not as effective, which most teams have. Milwaukee, Donnie, I don't know if you saw that play last night from Aguilar. Did you see that play?
No, I did not. I didn't get a scoop on any. I was just following by phone on that game. Go ahead.
He made an amazing play in the 8th inning, and it looked like he screwed his back up really bad. They had to bring a stretcher out and everything, and a van for him. It was pretty bad, but he might be out of the lineup. That's going to suck defensively. But yeah, I would lean under here, but not a huge fan of this game.
Yeah, next up on the docket, Jeff, 2:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. First game of another doubleheader today, 963, 964. That's going to be Gray and Ramirez on the mound. Looks like Oakland is getting 46% of the tickets here on the road. Line opened up as a total at 8.5. Currently still sitting at 8.5. Minus 123. Ramirez opened up as a short favorite. Since bet right around to that number, 5 dimes out there at minus 120. Also, particulars on this game: Sonny Gray through 3 road starts been abysmal, 7.02 ERA. Ramirez at home, same way typical with most of these Tampa Bay pitchers, a 2.76 ERA. Oakland, if you're betting them on the road, good luck. They're 8-21 overall. Tampa Bay, 19-14. blasted last night. Triggs was just dominated. They did anything they wanted to. Stolen bases, home runs, doubles, didn't matter. They blew Triggs up early and often. And Jeff, how about Kiermaier going down and Malik Smith coming up and having a fantastic game and putting some speed at the top of that lineup there?
Yeah, he's a fast kid. I remember him in Atlanta. He was a definitely, could leg out triples that should have maybe been doubles. By the way, for the today for the Colorado Rockies, no Cargo in the lineup, which I don't know is a bad thing. I mean, he's only hitting 227 this year. Kind of been a mess, not really hitting many home runs. I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing. So a pretty nice lineup for the Rockies today. But, as far as this game, your boy Triggs got crushed last night, which I'm not sure any of us were surprised by, because if we've listened to anything I've said, I've told you Andrew Triggs is a fraud. He's only good at home. Donnie, do we want to read his line last night? I didn't catch it.
He was terrible. And actually, he's only good on the road from his stats. And last night, he got pasted on the road.
Yeah, and then Neal came in and got roasted also. 8-21 on the road for Oakland. They're hitting just 221. Gray has struggled, though, also in his 3 road starts. Yeah, no, not much opinion here. I would go with Tampa Bay in this game 1. This is another doubleheader.
Yeah, another one they're going to have to – now, it's an interesting one here, Jeff. Now, it had to have been a scheduling conflict from what I'm assuming, where maybe something got rained out in Oakland. Why would you have a doubleheader, or there was no rain out in Tampa Bay? Is there any reasoning why there's a doubleheader today?
Someone asked that last night. I am not sure exactly. Maybe a game earlier in the year. I don't know. I'm not too sure. That's
the only thing I could think of. Yeah.
I don't think these teams play too often, but I'm not too sure. It's a good question.
All right, next up on the docket, again, I don't have much on that Oakland game, especially since it's the first game of the doubleheader. I would look more towards the second game in that one. We'll head to the Angels and the Astros. Nolasco and Fires, 21% back in the road team here with the Los Angeles Angels. 9.5 opens up at currently 9.5 across the board. Fires getting a lot of love, opened at -163, now currently bet up to -192 at Pinnacle. Some numbers here, Jeff. Last 3 starts from Nolasco. He's just your average everyday type of pitcher. 6.28 ERA, doesn't do much, tries to hang around the strike zone, pitch to contact, Fires through 11 starts. He's rated around a 5 ERA. The Angels 14-20 on the road. Houston 34-12 versus right-handed pitching. The one thing that's interesting with the Angels right now, Jeff, with Trout out of the lineup, they're still hitting the baseball pretty well.
They are. They have, Donnie, though, overall not been very good on the road. Just 227 offensively. But, last night I really liked the over in this game. I wish I would have set that as a premium play. This was an easy winner. Brad Peacock, to the surprise of no one, got crushed last night. Had to figure his Cloud 9 appearance wouldn't last too long. But, Donnie, you look at these pitchers, 2 of the most average pitchers you're going to find in baseball. Michael Fires and Ricky Nolasco. I mean, just 5 ERA kind of guys. That's what they do. Interesting kind of stat here as far as for a parlay possibly. Houston is 10-1 this year at home as a favorite of 175 to 250. So they're getting the job done in these big money games. Maybe consider a parlay, 2-team parlay with Houston today. It's hard to figure they're going to lose 2 games in a row. Big MOC, do you like the over again? Well, the over number's definitely been adjusted. It was 8 last night. It's now 10. So, I hate that 10 number, though, because I could see this as like an 8-2 kind of game.
What do you got for the Houston game?
Yeah.
I got looks like 9.5 pretty much across the board right now. So at least you're not.
Well, 9.5 I would go over probably. But I kind of like the Astros in a parlay. I might have to find someone to pair them with. We'll see.
They just hit. I think their lineup actually already might be out at this point, and they're full go today. So good luck if you're gonna, good luck Ricky Nolasco, I should say.
Astros have lost 3 of 4, which is interesting. But Astros run, I mean, it's never a bad bet, but I just don't really trust Fires. And like right now, I'm kind of concerned about the bullpen for the Astros. I mean, I'm not at the level where I'm concerned where like they're a dumpster fire, but they've had some problems lately, and it's because of guys that maybe don't really belong at this level or are having to pitch because of injuries and stuff. I don't know. Astros will win, but I'm not crazy about laying a number like this.
Yeah, no, I would agree there. To me in this one, it's either taking the Houston over or taking nothing in that one. Next up on the docket, 5:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rotation 967, 968. It's going to be Minaya and Andrisi. 39% currently backing Oakland. Keep in mind, this is game 2 of the doubleheader. Opened up at minus 108, sitting almost rate identical at minus 109 here at Pinnacle. Line opened up first at the total 8, minus 117. It looks like it's about 8 across the board, so a low total, given the fact that last night we did have some offensive fireworks in that one. We did go over some of the particulars here, but some of the pitching matchup here with Minaya. Last 3 starts seems to have gotten it together, Jeff. 1.35 ERA. He's got a live arm, kind of a funky type of motion there, so it's tough to pick up the ball movement out of his hand. Andrisi, 7 home starts. Again, you can almost, just carbon copy the ERA of these Tampa Bay pitchers at home. 3.35. Seems like they always give good, solid, quality outings. But as a game 2 in this one, Jeff, I don't have much on it till I see how game 1 went and what type of situations we're going to put these hitters in here.
I like the Tigers in this game. I come out and say it. I mean, Chris Sale has been poor lately.
Oakland.
Oh, sorry. We're going over that. Okay. I have nothing on that game, man.
It's game 2. I don't have anything.
My fault, man.
Yeah,
I don't like to bet on without knowing what happened in the first game. I don't like to bet on a team. Poland is good. They did very well at Euro tournament last year. Yeah, Poland is very good, and I actually have them parlayed with England. So hopefully England get the job done. They're laying 1 at home. They should be able to get by today. I'm just hoping England can get the job done here. But yes, I like Poland. Lewandowski is one of the best goal scorers in the world. But yeah, I don't have anything on Oakland second game, Donnie. Sorry.
No, let's get to that next. The next game was much better anyway. Some good angles here. 969, 970. That's Detroit and Boston. Detroit's going to go for game 2 in this one after Boston had I believe it was a 2-run home run by Jackie Bradley Jr. to propel them to a 5-3 win last night. Verlander, Sale today on the mound. 63% are going to back the home team with Sale in this. Minus 190 open up, Jeff. Looks like it's currently minus 190 about across the board. Minus 188 at 5 dimes. Some particulars on the game. 7 road starts for Verlander. When I look to fade Verlander, it's usually on the road. He's been bad. 6.52 ERA. However, Chris Sale, how about, a little bit of good karma for Chris Sale now? Beginning of the year, pitching 9 innings, throwing shutouts and losing the game. He's 3-0, Jeff, in his last 3, but he's got a 5.40 ERA. Detroit 9-6 now versus left-handed pitching after losing to Johnson last night. Boston 18-10 at home. At least they're playing and hitting at home. What's going to give in this one, Jeff? Do you think that right-handed lineup of Detroit can get to Chris Sale, because he's leaking a little bit of oil from his Superman pitching antics over the past couple of years? Or is it Verlander that's going to go on the road and just do what he does and give up, 6 innings, 4 earned runs?
It's amazing, Donnie. They actually get a good performance last night from Jordan Zimmerman, and the bullpen blows it. Exactly. We were on the air live with this game, and Joe Duffy actually had the Boston Red Sox on the run line. They were down 3-2. We were actually talking about it live when he hit the home run. So good call from Joe Duffy. But yeah, in this game, look, we faded Chris Sale a couple times, Donnie, laying big numbers like this. And if I can remember correctly, most of them have come in pretty well this year. Yeah, look, I mean, you look at the fact that the Detroit Tigers right now are murdering the baseball, hitting over 340 over the last 7 games. They do have some problems on the road, you're right, but you look at Boston over the last week, hitting just 211. You look at during that 7 games, OPS for the Tigers, 987. And you got to talk – Chris Sale's struggling here. You look at some of the numbers against some of these Tiger hitters, Donnie. In 45 at-bats – for Miguel Cabrera, 4 home runs, a 311 average. Victor Martinez, 44 at-bats, hitting 455 against Chris Sale, 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. JV, Justin Verlander, 17 starts, an ERA under 3 in his career against the Red Sox. That's enough for me. I'll take a shot with an underdog Tiger price here. You never know in Fenway. Boston's not particularly hitting right now. I'll take a shot that V-Mart can hit a nice 3-run shot for us here and get the job done, hopefully.
Yeah, that's a good point by you, because one would, Chris Sale, obviously we know he's being dominant, but if you're looking at obviously the I'm sorry, getting a little bit of reverb back there. I apologize, lost my train of thought. With Verlander and Sale there. Sale, obviously, the Detroit lineup has seen him quite a bit over the years being into the division. So this isn't one thing where a super left-handed pitcher who you don't see that much with his quirky motion, they've seen him a lot. So it's a great point there, bringing up the fact that, Miggy, V-Mart, they can get to him there. And again, they like to hit left-handed pitching. So it's going to be a good matchup today.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, Verlander has had some struggles, but again, I mean, he's had good success his career against Boston, so we'll hope that he can today.
Yeah, next up on the docket, White Sox and the Cleveland Indians. Going to be Holmberg, the lefty, versus Tomlin. 32% back in the road team here, the Chicago White Sox. And I can't blame 68% of the people, even though it's Josh Tomlin back in Cleveland. Just hard to get a grasp on this White Sox team at this point. Total opens up, Jeff, at 9.5, has been bet up to, looks like 10.5 at Pinnacle, 10.5 at sportsbook.com. So certainly a lot of runs one would be anticipating. And just looking at this number, Jeff, I know the White Sox think. Tomlin, minus 215 at 5 dimes. Here's some particulars on this game. Holmberg's had 2 starts. He's only going 4 innings or less, so it looks like it's going to be a bullpen game here for the Chicago White Sox. Tomlin, 11 starts, trash can, 5.54 ERA. Home, even worse, 6.19 ERA. White Sox 14-27 versus right-handed pitching. Cleveland only 13-14 at home. 2 pitchers that obviously aren't very good, but again, Tomlin laying over 200 is kind of hilarious to me. I don't even care who he's playing.
Yeah, he actually has, though, pitched decent lately, though. I mean, for the record, I mean, David Holmberg is not very good. And the also trouble, though, Donnie, with Josh Tomlin, who's pitched better, like I said. He doesn't walk people. I think he's on some crazy streak with 2 or less walks per game. It's just amazing how he just doesn't walk anyone. And his home run numbers haven't been terrible this year. You look at, for those sabermetric people, his sabermetrics are much better than his ERA would constitute. I mean, his ERA is at 5.54. His xFIP, though, at 3.94. So the true ERA might be much less than what Josh Tomlin has had. But, you know, from an overall standpoint, Josh Tomlin is not a guy I'm interested in. I'm also not quite interested in a team in the Indians who don't hit left-handed pitching well. The trouble is, I mean, I'm just not a fan of Holmberg. Josh Tomlin does give up those home runs, and it can be concerning. White Sox have lost 8 of 9, and look, this number kind of tells the story. It tells me the story that, you know, Cleveland's going to be the play here. I don't want to get in bed with Josh Tomlin, so for me, it's a pass. The total seems a little high, Donnie. I think they're kind of overreacting when they see Josh Tomlin possibly, but David Holmberg could give up 8 himself, so I don't know. This is a pass for me. Slightest of leans to the under 10.5 here.
Yeah, I agree. Baltimore, New York Yankees next up on the docket, 973, 974. It's going to be Tillman and Severino on the mound today. 3,700 tickets have been posted. 70% backing the home team. New York Yankees opened up at minus 185. It now sits, Jeff, at 5 dimes at minus 228. Total opened up at 9, has been bet to 9.5. We know the tale of the 2 teams here. And tail of 2 pitchers coming in here. Tillman, last 3 starts, 7.90 ERA, definitely fadeable. Looking at Severino, his last 3 starts, Jeff, 1.27 ERA. Baltimore, 10-18 on the road. The Yankees pounding teams at 20-9 at home. I don't like laying that big of a number, but I can certainly see it here in the Yankees game, Jeff.
Yeah, Yankees are 20-9, Donnie, at home, but I want to give you a little solace. In those 20 wins, 16 have come by 2 or more runs. You know, they're averaging 6 runs a game at home, hitting 275 as a group. And opponents, only 4 runs a game in Yankee Stadium, hitting just 221. So a big discrepancy as far as home away. Last 7 games against the Yankees, opponents hitting 192. So this pitching has continued to be fantastic. Montgomery last night was very good. CC the night before was very good. They've just been very good. Or Pineda the night before and CC before him. They've just been very effective. Tillman has been terrible this year in his starts. I don't like the Baltimore Orioles on the road. And I do want to point out of 30 major league teams, the Baltimore Orioles are 26th in most strikeouts per game, over 9 a game for this offensive group. So Severino, a strikeout pitcher, he's been very good this year. I would lay the run line here with the New York Yankees.
Yeah, Jeff, look at that. Andy Fletcher is going to be the umpire today. As a home umpire, he's 210 and 163 towards the home team, and certainly an over umpire, Jeff. 189 and 160 in his career. Wind blowing out about double digits to left field today. Nice day in the Bronx at 80 degrees. Might be in trouble here for Tillman. And how about, Jeff, give a little props to your boy Hicks. Career high, 11 home runs is what he has 10 already this year. They're getting, you know, the one thing you can't complain about with the Yankees this year is the way they've been hitting the baseball.
Yeah, and again, I think it's only going to get better with this group. I mean, Gleyber Torres will come up. Greg Bird will get back and start to hit. They have a lot. Austin will come up. There's a lot to look forward to with this team offensively, and we're starting to see that. So, yeah, Tillman's been poor. I would lean
By
over.
the way, Jeff, with Headley at third, did the Yankees make a move with a veteran at third base, or are they just going to let the young kid come up and make that playoff run?
No, I don't think. I think if you look at the overall state of this team, look, obviously Bryce Harper will be a different story, but they're not really – they haven't really been doing much of that lately as far as bringing in big free agents. Look, Chase Headley, that experiment failed. I think if they look back on it, they would have probably kept Solarte. But, yeah, I think they're set in bringing Gleyber Torres up. Torres has played in the major leagues. I think he'll be just fine as far as a good replacement for the Yankees. But I will say this, I wouldn't hate it if they added a veteran presence. I mean, they don't have much of a bench, this group. They're kind of, Greg Bird's kind of been hurt and has struggled, and some of the young guys maybe just aren't ready to come up. And the rest of their bench with Chris Carter and that group, just not very good. So I don't know. I don't know that I'd be surprised, but I think they're just ready and set on Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that one. Next up on the docket here, great pitching matchup from what I'm looking at from a standpoint. 975, 976. It's going to be Toronto and Seattle. We have Stroman and Miranda on the mound. 52%, almost an even 50-50 split here, backing each one of these pitchers here. Opened up Toronto a short favorite of minus 113, sticking right on that number. So we got some good line battles here where they're not moving much. Over-under opened up at 8, has since been bet to 8.5. And if we take a look at some interesting tidbits here on this game, 12 starts for Stroman, 3.25 ERA. Miranda, 5 home starts, Jeff, 2.02 ERA. Toronto, 3-5 in the month of June. Would have thought once they got the boys back in town, as we like to say, they would have turned it on. Hasn't been the case. Seattle, always a good home team at 20-11, winning last night again. Cruz welcomed back to the lineup. Something's got to give here between these two pitchers, Jeff, in a pitching environment. Who do you think is going to get the nod here in this one with a nice, easy 113 line?
Well, I also want to point out, I mean, how did all those fans up in Toronto work out last night or in Seattle?
Did they pack the ballpark? Was it like Bark in the Park? Everybody was there?
Yeah, how did that work out for Toronto last night? Didn't know that. I don't think I caught the final of that game. Yeah, I don't think it mattered either way. Listen, Donnie, I'm going to come out and say it. Seattle is a good team at home. They're starting to be worth it. I'm starting to be interested in this group again. And I'm going to tell you right now, Ariel Miranda has been very good this year. Been a very surprise pitcher for me. I didn't think he would pitch this well. He's been very good at home, an ERA of 2.02 and 5 home starts. Marcus Stroman is good. I mean, he's okay. I'm not in love with him. I thought he had a great World Baseball Classic, but that's not the major leagues. He's still a guy that will give up runs. He's not a guy that's his whip is, average. It's not great. I don't think he's the pitcher of that everyone thought he'd be, but I'm not betting against Seattle at home. I like what this group has been able to do. And Donnie, we're starting to see Toronto turtle up, as you would say, and head back into their shell. They have struggled over the last 7 games, hitting just 231. And this year against lefties, hitting 226, one of the worst in baseball. I like Seattle again at an underdog price. I'll go with them here.
Hey, Jeff, one of those interesting stats, it has nothing to do with the Toronto-Seattle game. Somebody tweeted out this morning, I want to say that in the last 48 batters in runners with scoring position for the staff of the New York Yankees, they haven't allowed a hit. Did you see that stat at all, by the way?
I've not seen that stat.
That is unbelievable for a stat.
Say the stat again. I didn't hear. You kind of cut out.
0 for 48 is the batters versus the Yankees pitching staff with runners in scoring position over the last 48 attempts.
Well, no, I mean, look, they've been very good this year with that. And, the only guy that's had trouble with that has been Michael Pineda, who, has had his shared problems in his career with that. But, yeah, I mean, look, their pitching has been fantastic all year. And you just think if Tanaka pitched better, where this team would be.
Yeah, or even if, you've brought it up before, if they just kept Ivan Nova and figured out his problems, you'd have a lot of young pitchers for a long time. But
I'm sick every
you
time
can't
I
always
see him
envision
pitch.
that.
Every time I see him pitch, he's going deep in games, too. He goes like 7 innings a game. It's like
doesn't walk anybody. Yeah,
amazing, man. I wish they would have gave him a little bit more time, but, they gave up. It is what it is. They got burned.
Couple games left on the docket here. Minnesota, San Francisco, rotation 979, 980. That's Barrios versus Samardzija. The Shark, 61% backing the road team here with Minnesota. And Jeff, I know you're probably like a proud papa today. That Santana game last night, under 100 pitches, complete game, and had a key base hit in that one. Fantastic win for Minnesota. They continue to improve upon their stellar road record. Total opens up at 7.5. Looks like it's 7.5 across the board. Shark getting some love here, Jeff. Minus 140 for the Shark over Barrios today. 3 road starts for Barrios, 2.70. The Shark, last 3 starts, getting it together a little bit, 3.37 ERA. Minnesota, 19-8 on the road. San Francisco, 16-25 versus right-handed pitching. Minnesota, bet against them at your peril when they're on the road. What a great road team this year.
Irvin Santana asking all those people, how does his dick taste after last night? 91 pitches, a 3-run double. It was a beautiful sight. And the Twins continued, Donnie, to win on the road, which you said, I believe they're 17-6 on the road. Amazing stuff. And this Giants lineup was absolutely lost last night. They had no idea what they were doing at the plate. And look, Santana continues to pitch well. He did have that hiccup against the Angels, which happens, but he bounced back like a true professional would and pitched fantastic. Now they get their boy. And, Donnie, this is turning into quite the little 1-2 at the top of their rotation with Barrios and Irvin Santana. Barrios has been very effective all year, as we've talked about. Look, I'm not necessarily buying into Samardzija. He has been very good. You were right. And he has struck out batters at a higher rate than he normally would. But I can get a team in the Twins who are 19-8 on the road. I'm sorry, not 17-6, 19-8. I was a little off on that number. But, Barrios has been very good in his 5 starts. This is a lineup that I don't think he'll have a ton of trouble with. In his 5 starts, they are 4-1. I'm going to come out and say it. I love Minnesota here. At this price, I don't really quite understand it. I don't think the market's quite understand it either. And you look at this line, Donnie, last night, overnight, it was, it was at as high as 150, if I can remember correctly. It's since been bet down to 137. So public starting to agree here in taking the Twins. So, yeah, I would go with the Twins.
Yeah, interesting in that. Maybe, Matt, a lot of maybe Sano's going to sit in this one. Joe Mauer sits in this one. You never know where that line comes out, where maybe somebody or the Vegas line makers are tipped off on what. But that's definitely interesting. To set a line with Samardzija at minus 28, I can see it. But
England, boom. England scores, Donnie. Boom.
Oxley get it? Who get it? Who did it?
I got my stream cut out here. I'm starting to see it here. I believe it was, is that Kyle Walker? Possibly. I believe so. I got to see here. I don't have the sound on, but taking out that bum Rashford works. Oxlade Chamberlain scores. Okay. The sun is very heavy. I can't really see the names. Boom. Let's finish it out, baby. Oxlade Chamberlain. Beautiful. Take out Marcus Rashford, who was obviously struggling, and boom. Very good. But yes, Donnie, where are you sitting at with this game?
I don't have too much of a thought process on it, just because the fact is, obviously, I need to see some lineups. They might be out at this point, but it's kind of interesting because San Francisco doesn't really hit. Do you know what I mean?
Let me ask you though, and that's kind of why I'm saying, like, you're mentioning, like, Mauer might be out, which not that big a deal. Do I have to worry necessarily about the Giants scoring a ton of runs today? I don't know. So
I mean, I don't. Yeah, but I'm always a big fan. Like, I like to see why that line is up and why that line is moving. There's got to be something a little bit different. I know we've talked about Samardzija's been a little bit better. Barrios has been good. And again, San Francisco hasn't seen the kid. We all know when somebody has electric stuff, you got to wait. Maybe 1, 2, or 3 through the order there to get through it. So one would lean towards Minnesota, but I don't understand why Samardzija is going to be back in the 40s. Something has to give in this one.
Yeah, and I think the line was just kind of – it didn't really make much sense. I mean, I think, maybe it's just a weird – I don't know. It's hard to wonder why he was laying 140s. But if, Donnie, you look at the number, though, and, again, at the opener, Samardzija was 121. Sharps bet it up to 146 for some reason. They must have saw something. I don't really know. Maybe just they thought maybe Barrios was a little overhyped and they were high on Samardzija. I don't know. But I think the books put it out at the right number. It's sharp money betting it, and as we know, just because you're sharp doesn't mean you're smart. Who knows? Sharp could just be a big better with a lot of money. I'm not really too concerned about this number. I think the Tigers or the Twins at any price are the right bet.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there and that turns out. Next game up, looks like we're headed for a bullpen game here, Jeff. 981, 982, break up the San Diego Padres with a nice 6-3 winner last night over the visiting Kansas City Royals. Kennedy and Diaz on the mound today. 65% are backing the road team here with Kansas City. Opened up as a slight favorite, minus 117, since bid up to about minus 125, minus 126 at Chris at 5 dimes. So not too much movement in that factor. 8.5 as the total opened up, sitting at 8.5 across the board. If you look at this game, we know what we're going to get from Kennedy there. It's not going to be very good. The one interesting thing is San Diego is going to throw a bullpen guy out there. So if he's going to go, 2, 3, 4 innings tops, you're looking at a lot of expended pitching matchup in this one. So in those type of cases, Jeff, I usually lean towards the over in those scenarios.
For some reason, this game's on FS1, which I don't really quite understand that thinking.
Prime time, yeah.
Kansas City 9-18 on the road. They're 2-12 at this price point. So, look, I don't trust them on the road. I don't trust Ian Kennedy on the road. Ian Kennedy has really started to have major problems. And you know what's interesting, Donnie, about Ian Kennedy? He hasn't been horrible with giving up home runs. He's just not getting people out. You look at it as 10 starts, 7 have gone over the post total. Miguel Diaz going for the Padres here. I haven't had much read on this series. Padres got it done last night.
It is hard. Like, I know you got to be sharp and see how it goes and how the pitching matchups go out. But by God, it is hard to put your money on San Diego at this point at any stretch.
And this is why when people come at me and say, well, you're this and that, at the end of the day, I come on a show and give my opinion on games like this. I'll give you a pick for it just because my goal is to give a pick for every game. If I had to play it, gun to my head, I would play the Royals just because I do trust their lineup a little bit more than I trust San Diego. I do trust a veteran like Kennedy a little bit more than a guy in Diaz who I've never seen before. I have no real opinion on it, though. I would probably go with the Royals here, but it won't have my money on it.
Yeah. Last up and finally, game 2 of the series here with the Mets. Game 2 of the doubleheader Mets with Steven Matz on the line. Atlanta with Whistler. 52% currently backing the Mets in this situation. Minus 135 it opened up. Looks like you're getting minus 150 for a game 2. Not even knowing what the starting lineups will be or how this game 1 will turn out. Some particulars: Matt's an extended DL stretch. It's going to be his first game that he's going to pitch here. Obviously, Whistler going to get his first start of the year. I saw enough of Matt Whistler last year to know he's not very good. First start, he's got a 5 ERA this year in AAA. So I don't really understand what you're going to get out of Atlanta here. I'm more interested in the matchups here. If the New York Mets can probably put together, a decent lineup for game 2, I would lean towards the Mets in this situation. But you know me, I like to bet the Mets in the over. So I'm going to sit back and watch to see how this is going to play out, how many bullpens get burned through. Because Selman, even though he did escape the first inning, did throw a lot of pitches. Interested to see, where it's going to end up. 9.5 is the total. 10. If it stays under 10, it might have my interest. But if it peaks at 10, I'm going to have no interest in this game whatsoever either way.
Yeah, Mets take a 1-0 lead in game 1 in the second. But, Donnie, I think that's why Newcomb pitching well is pretty imperative for the Braves. I mean, you look at Matt Whistler. He struggled. Aaron Blair last year struggled when he came up. Fulton Avits has been pretty good, but their young pitchers haven't exactly been effective. I mean, Tehran's had problems as far as some of their veterans. They had to go out and get Cologne, who's been brutal. I think long term, this group is going to have major problems. You're going to see a lot of overs, a lot of losses for the Braves, just because their pitching rotation, the skin's starting to come off, and we're starting to see this group isn't very good. They need some good pitching outings. I don't really like Matt Whistler. I didn't like him last year. You look at this year, he's appeared in 6 games, an ERA of 7 in 9 innings. So, and you look at his overall career stats: 53 games in the major leagues, 274 innings, an ERA just south of 5. I'm not loving Matt Whistler, but I need to see what happens in game 1. And Matt's off the DL, just not too interested in this game before. I don't think I'll be much interested in even after the first game. I thought the value game was game one. I don't have much in the second game.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here, but that's going to wrap up the Major League Baseball card. I got a lot of work I got to do this afternoon now that most of these lineups are out. There's a couple games I'm looking at 4 o'clock, and of course a little bit later on as well. I didn't have actually, which worked out good for the show. The Phillies game starting at 2 o'clock, the Cubs game starting at 2 o'clock, or this early one with Texas and the Mets in Atlanta. Didn't have much on that, so my game is going to be saved for later. Heading into today in a 3-1 record this week, hopefully going to cash in on my 6th straight winning week to open the season in Major League Baseball. So I got a lot of work on my plate today, but a good card there. Looks like it's going to be some value that's going to pop its head up. Big man, going to give the listeners anything there that you might like today in Major League Baseball that you're, maybe firing on. I know you don't want to give away maybe a premium play, but something out there that might be able to help.
Even on the weekend premium plays, I'm looking at a couple here. I'm obviously looking at the Yankees on the run line. I'm looking at, I mentioned the Dodgers on the run line, which I played. I mentioned that over in that Braves game. I like the Tigers at an underdog price. I'll take that just to maybe get some money back. Any horse tips? Yeah, I did. And I got to tell you, I want to shout out my friend, The Chill, who has taught me everything I know in this business.
Yeah, who's The Chill got today for us, Jeff? Who we got with
I don't know. I haven't spoke to him yet, but he called me and told me to bet the 2 horse at 12.5 to 1, I think it was, in the Preakness, and it came in. And, The Chill has been when I was a young kid, Donnie, he taught me everything about this business, and we still talk today. I have to see what he's on. I don't know. Follow me on Twitter. I'll get that out. I don't know shit about horse racing, so I always go to him with this. As far as Donnie's soccer today, I am on, obviously, England and Poland in a parlay. That pays out plus 175, so hopefully England can keep it up and Poland can get the job done. I know we're a little short on time, but it's Saturday. We're having fun here. Couple other ones, Donnie, I'm on. I mentioned – I am on Germany, San Marino over 7.5, which it's soccer. I know people are going to say to me,
it's not baseball.
Yeah, people are going to say to me, well, I mean, it's soccer. How are they going to score 8 goals? But I think we have to maybe just think about who we're betting here, Donnie. This is truly possibly the best team in the world in Germany against arguably the worst team in the world in San Marino. San Marino is a very small country in the middle of Italy. It's really made up of, honestly, Donnie, firefighters and dentists and bar owners and all sorts of people that play the game basically half the time. You look at the 5 matches played for San Marino in this World Cup qualifying, they've actually scored 1 goal, surprisingly. They've given up 23. You look at some of their games this year. They lost to Germany 8-0, Czech Republic 6-0. I mean, Northern Ireland scored 4 on them. That just kind of shows you this group. I mean, they're just terrible. They're definitely probably the worst team in the world, maybe other than Gibraltar. So I think this is truly, Donnie, an 8-9-0 game. It's just totally a different, a huge discrepancy. Do I still like it if the young guys play for Germany? Yes, I do, because the young players for Germany are very good as well. You look at some of the names, though, Mesut Ozil, Hummels, I mean, just Boateng. There's so many names, Kadira, so many names for Germany. This should be a laugher. I think it's 8-0, 9-0. I could see 10-0 here. This could get really ugly. And I'm also, Donnie, on Czech Republic, draw no bet. They should be able to take care of Norway today. Donnie, I have 2 calls. You want to get to them quick?
Go ahead, man. Let's do it.
Hold on 1 second.
South Jersey.
Oops, played it too early.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Mark. I'm from South Jersey. Just real quick question for you guys. USA Soccer. I mean, let's discuss it a little bit. Big game against Mexico. I'm a little concerned. I feel like they need to win this game. What are your guys' thoughts on the match? That's all I want to know. What's the thoughts on the match? Will they win? Can they win? Break it down for me, guys. Thanks.
Donnie, Judd, Mark from your neck of the woods, South Jersey.
Yeah. Hey, man, we're read up on El Tree, so we're ready to go for this one.
Right. As far as do they need to win? Yes, they have to win this game. It's a must win. The problem I have here is, I mean, Mexico is much better. They're a team that's beat the U.S. recently several times, and Look, we can all talk about how the U.S. made that game in Colorado just because they wanted to be prepared for this game in Mexico. I'm not sure how this prepares you for that game. You go from playing in Colorado a day later to playing in Mexico. From a stamina standpoint, I think it's going to be a tough game where they may run out of a little energy. They have to win it. Will they? I don't believe so. I mean, they're getting 5.5 to 1, which if you like the U.S., I mean, throw a nugget on them late night to have some fun, but I don't think they win. I really don't. Maybe +1 would be worth it, but I think this is a decently high-scoring game. I think it's a 3-1, 2-1 type of game. I think it will get up and over the 2.5. U.S., a team that has some struggles defensively. I mean, if Trinidad converts on some opportunities, that game could have been a much different game than it was. I thought the U.S. had plenty of opportunities. Both teams should have opportunities. Mexico, El Tri, they love to push tempo as well. I think we see a pretty high-scoring game. Both teams to score is the best bet for me. If you can't bet that, go over 2.5. I think both these teams score some goals here. The game against Trinidad was a joke. It wasn't a joke because they had major trouble in the first half, and they were lucky that Trinidad couldn't convert on some opportunities. If they would have, which Mexico will do, they're going to have some trouble. A must win. If they lose, they still have a great chance to make the World Cup. But Costa Rica has played very well also and has the goal differential against them. So I don't really – they need to go out and win this game. That will help them. Donnie, do you have any thoughts on this game?
You summed it up perfectly. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Very good. Couple more.
Kyle Honeysett here. Joey motherfucking Votto. That a boy Donnie right side. Cash that ticket, baby.
Kyle Honeysett checking in.
Yeah, actually, you know what's funny about that too? You know, some guys send you some good mojo. We were talking, obviously, Jeff, me and you were going back and forth in that one with our hate tweets about, what the Reds were doing. But as soon as he popped on there, I was just like, hey, man, hopefully we get this one. Solo shot came up for Kike Hernandez, and then just going back and forth. Next inning there was Votto with the home run. So I always appreciate the good listeners out there giving us the good mojo because, again, we all want to win out there, and I root on Big Man when I don't have to play. He does the same for me, and I like to generally see everybody who's doing the right thing get those victories. So that was nice. We got some good listener mojo out there in a late-night W for us.
Yeah, it was beautiful. By the way, if you're interested in calling in, put your money where your mouth is. 717-220-3358. We would play them. Clint Dempsey was out with 30 minutes of. Who cares? Clint Dempsey, give me Bobby Wood any day. Clint Dempsey's dead of his career. Screw Clint Dempsey. It's all about Pulisic, baby. Christian Pulisic, Hershey, PA. Stand up, Donnie. Donnie, we have the call last night that involved a woman. We're going to play that.
Okay.
We were cut off, so let's get to that.
Yeah.
Hey, BMLC, that's Beer Cynthia. How are you? I just have a quick question for you guys. Wanting to know, first of all, obviously you guys go back a ways, and I'm sure you've covered this before, but, why are you guys so loyal to each other, number one? And number two is, how good are you guys really? What is your best sport in betting? I mean, where are you, the shit? All right, thank you. Bye.
Nice voice.
How about that? Yeah.
Kind of accenty. I like it.
Yeah.
Donnie and I, we've been friends for a while. I mean, we've talked about where we live close to each other. We don't live, he's in, South Jersey. I'm in the Philly area. And we actually met at an Eagles game that one time. Remember, Don?
Yeah.
By the way, Scotland.
We had known each other for a while, but we finally caught up. I think it was a Redskin game a couple years back, which Chip Kelly lost. So.
Yeah, by the way, Scotland scores. Fuck me. So Scotland equalizes here. Interesting. But yeah, Donnie and I have known each other for a while. As far as loyal, I mean, look, Donnie's just a guy that I trust. His opinion's great. He's a good guy. And listen, I've been on Twitter for a long time. I mean, Donnie, I've probably been on Twitter longer than me. Longer than anyone. I mean, I've been on Twitter since 2008, 2009. So I've seen so many people come and go. I can probably tell you about anyone on gambling Twitter. I've seen them all. There's not many that I like. There's not many that I would do business with. And Donnie's just a guy that I trust and I like, and I generally do like. I don't like a lot of people on Twitter, but he is a good guy, and we've always had good chemistry. Plus, we know each other, so it makes it easy. It's really for me just about that. And we kind of compliment each other when we do the shows. So
no, we fit together pretty good on both things. And again, it's not all, cookies and ice cream, so to speak. Like me and the big man go at it, but that's why it works out so good. He has strong opinions on stuff. I have strong opinions. He likes to do some things one way. I like it the other way, but I think it shows on the show of how much we generally care about the sports betting industry and the sports betting interests and getting the information out there. And again, generally like it. Like today, Jeff, a nice Saturday afternoon. I don't have much to do this afternoon. I don't know what you have going on, but again, we've been on for what? Almost, an hour and 50 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, whatever it's been. Again, we can do this all day if we wanted to. Obviously, time constraints don't let us, but it does go through that we like to do this and we like to give as much information out there that can help you win because we want to win the same way.
Exactly. As far as the rest of her question, what's our best sport?
Yeah.
College sports for me. It's always been. I love college. I've always loved the passion. Donnie, I think, is NFL, right?
Yeah, NFL. I'm over 62% the last 2 years combined in NFL action. It's been, and again, I play it the same way I do in baseball. I think last year, Jeff, maybe 35 total plays in the NFL for the entire season from week 1 all the way through to the Super Bowl. I take it slow again, but yeah, and NFL, baseball, I've always done well, but you're talking about a percentage point betting against, point spreads. I'm over 60% in the NFL, so that's definitely my best sport.
Yeah, definitely college for me. College football, college basketball, which we're all excited about. But all right, Donnie, everyone, we will head off here. Obviously, we've been on for a while. Tweety Dime's a nut. Is he a good guy, BMOC? He is an interesting guy, Tweety Dimes. Tweety and I have known each other for a long time. He's from South Philadelphia, not far from where I lived. So I do know Tweety. Tweety goes back a long way, too. One thing about Tweety that I will say, he's a guy that you might not understand his shtick, but he's been doing this a long time. I mean, he's much maligned. A lot of people don't like him, but he is a guy that, I respect still. England needs to fire their manager. Team is embarrassment. Yeah, they did fire their manager. Roy Hodgson they fired, and they have a new manager. Looks like Scotland just scored, if I am correct, Donnie. Amazing. Amazing. The Celtic boys deliver again. Amazing. Lee Griffith's second goal. Why did I bet against this team, Donnie? They made so much money from me. Why did I do it? You look at that Scotland crowd. Amazing. This is amazing crowd. Just awesome stuff. Good for them. If I'm going to lose, I'll lose to Scotland. No problem.
Yeah, me and the big man will be back on together Monday night, 10 p.m. again for the latest installment of the Late Night on Campus. But it's been a lot of fun today. Got a lot of work to do to try to provide another winner. I know you do as well, big man. But we'll have some fun on the weekend. Good luck out there, guys, with whatever tickets you're betting there. Any information that you want to share, if you have any questions with it, we're always open to suggestions and certainly helping out. Anybody that's reached out to me on DM knows I'm quite accessible there. I'll try to give you as much information as I can. Follow me at RightSideVP. Follow the big man at Jeff Nadeau. Let's have some fun and win some money. But have a good weekend, folks.
Donnie.